We took a safari trip to South Africa and Botswana a couple years ago, and part of the safari was that we were going to have a private plane that took us from camp to camp. And Sandy sees this old plane over here sitting on the runway, and she says, "I hope this isn't our airplane. This looks really old and it ought to be retired." So we meet our group, and of course the first thing our guide does is she points to the airplane and says, "Let me introduce you to your airplane," okay? And she goes on and she says, "This is a magnificent airplane. It was built in 1941. It's the year before we were born." So Sandy taps me on the shoulder at this point. She says, "We're gonna die on this trip." We're gonna die on this trip. And she goes on and she says, "Let me tell you about the magnificent things this plane did in World War II, all right? So we're not feeling any better over here, okay? And then we see the two pilots, and they're off on the side, and they're having an argument, okay? And Sandy's cringing at this point in time. Well, it turns out they weren't arguing over what the plane would do. They were arguing over who got to fly the plane. It seems that this antique aircraft that we're going on is fun to fly. So in the end, what happened is the airplane did what it was supposed to do, and it did it magnificently, because what it was able to do was it was able to fly low so we could see game going in. It was able to get in a small runway so that we could land in great places. It was able to take off when we wanted it to. They told us it could land on no engines if it had to. It could fly on one engine if it had to, okay? And it was magnificently maintained, all right? So what I want you to do is think about this for a minute, because this airplane is symbolic. Just because you reach a certain age, like this airplane did, you do not have to feel old, and you do not have to feel like you can't be the best there is. Now, the best there is changes, though. And this is one of the things that we have to think about as we move forward. See, the best there is what you want it to be, and it's taking those unique things about you and getting them under control. So this airplane was not going to compete with a jetliner trying to get across the country or across the ocean. There's no way it was going to do that. But what it could do was get into these tight places. It could offer a very comfortable way of doing things, and it was perfect for what it was. So remember the airplane when you start thinking about designing your life, and don't let anybody tell you you're old. You know, somebody told me a while ago that old people are 10 years older than you are, and young people are 10 years younger than you are. So see, we never get old.